Box hedges can have a lot of problems, but if you spend just 8 minutes with me, a plant health scientist, you can become an expert at diagnosing the 7 most common causes of box problems. Starting first with box issues, I see most commonly to rarer uncommon problems. Each box problem gets a rating on my plant doctor worryometer, ranging from a don't worry about it, 1 out of 10, to you need to deal with this right now, 10 out of 10. Let's start. Here's box sucker, a problem I spot on almost every box plant. Can you see this white, waxy, cottony fluff, or these flaky white smears of white across the young leaves and shoot tips of the box plant? This fluffy white, waxy substance is secreted in the spring by young box sucker insects. The box sucker is a small sap-sucking insect, also known as the box psyllid, or in Latin, Psylla buxi. If you look closely, you may even spot the tiny, flat green nymph of the box sucker hidden inside the white secretions. At other times of the year, you are unlikely to spot the adult sucker, but you will spot these stunted, cupped, cabbage-like leaves at the box shoot tips. These cupped and distorted box leaves are created by the box sucker feeding on the shoots. Happily, this little sucker doesn't harm the health of the box plants, and you can simply prune out those mini cabbage-like shoot tips. I'm giving box sucker a plant doctor worryometer rating of a low 3 out of 10. Don't panic. On to problem 2, the box tree caterpillar. So look closely. Young box tree caterpillars spend the winter in a state of suspended development, similar to hibernation. The young caterpillars hide in the tips of the box shoots. The tiny box caterpillars start feeding as the weather gets warmer in spring. This spring feeding leaves small white or pale patches in the middle of the leaves. The box tree caterpillars themselves are only a few millimeters long initially, but rapidly grow to as long as 3 centimeters or an inch. The caterpillars are hairy, black, green and white in colour. The box caterpillars avoid eating the tough, very outer edge of the leaf, so you will often find a thin, wispy edge remaining on an eaten leaf. This feeding damage pattern is characteristic of the box tree caterpillar. As the caterpillars feed, they leave their poo behind. The frass or poo looks like small green or brown round pellets a millimetre or so across. You may even spot a cocoon hidden in amongst the eaten leaves as the caterpillar transforms into the box tree moth. Eventually, the caterpillars eat all the leaves on the plant and leave behind completely stripped box plants. A sad spectacle indeed. The glimmer of good news here is that the box tree caterpillar only feeds on box plants, not other plants in your garden. Your privet, yew and holly hedges are safe from the box tree caterpillar. I give box tree caterpillar a plant doctor worryometer rating of an urgent 8 out of 10. You need to deal with box tree caterpillar now. So watch my deep dive practical guide, link in the description below. Problem 3 is box blight caused by the fungus Calonectria pseudonaviculata. Box blight fungal infection starts with orangey-brown leaf spots on the leaves. The box blight infected leaves fall off the stems, leaving bare patches on the box plants. You'll often see these bare patches on the top of trimmed box hedges. Look closely at the remaining stems. They have small black streaks of blight infection on them, like you can see here. White fungal spores grow out of the stems and infected leaves in damp weather. Box blight can infect other plants closely related to box, for example, Pachysandra. So, here's my plant doctor worryometer rating for box blight, a concerning 7 out of 10. Watch my detailed guide to treating box blight, link in the description. As a side note, there is a second, less serious blight known as Volutella blight, which usually only infects stressed or wounded box plants. Leaves infected with Volutella blight turn pale straw-coloured and die back, staying on the plant. The spores of the Volutella blight fungus are bright salmon pink, unlike the white spores of the more serious, worrying box blight. The fourth box plant problem is not a specific pest or disease, but rather general stress. Stressed box plants have yellow or bronze leaves. Box plant stress is most often caused by drought or nutrient deficiency. This is fairly simple to fix, but stress can also be caused by more serious root diseases, such as Phytophthora root rot or honey fungus infection. link in the description. I give Stressed Box a worryometer rating of 6 out of 10. Definitely worth investigating. Problem 5. Boxwood spider mite. These tiny spider mites feed on the surface of the box leaves. Their feeding causes tiny white flecks or stippling on the leaf surface. Leaves may take on a yellow or bronze tinge and may fall if heavily infested. But good news, these spider mites only feed on box plants and rarely cause serious damage to the box plant. My Boxwood spider mite worryometer rating is a low 3 out of 10. Live and let live. Problem 6. Another tiny sap-sucking insect, the box mussel scale, also known as oystershell scale. It's shaped, as its name suggests, like a tiny mussel shell or oyster shell. These scale insects are about 3 millimeters long, and they look like a dark brown flaxseed or a grain of brown rice. These scale insects are firmly stuck to the plant, but you can scrape them off with a bit of effort. When there are large numbers of mussel scale, they can stunt the growth of the plant. Box mussel scale isn't too terrible for your box plants, but it can feed on over 100 different woody plants, including apple trees, lilac, cotoneaster, and dogwood. So it's not just a box problem. My box mussel or oystershell scale worryometer rating is a 5 out of 10. Be careful, this can spread to other plants. And problem 7. Another fungus, the box rust fungus. You can see here the early signs of box rust infection. See these yellow or straw-coloured spots on the top surface of the leaves? Turn the leaves over and you'll see raised pustules or blister-like brown growths. These blisters burst to expose raised clusters of dark brown fungal spores. I generally only find box rust on older, established box plants. The rust doesn't cause much damage to the overall health of the plant, so simply prune it out or leave it be. Good news here, box rust is only found on box plants, so it won't spread to other plants in your garden. My worryometer rating for box rust is a happily low 2 out of 10. Box rust is nothing to lose sleep over. If you're in the UK and you're having a problem with your hedges, not just box hedges, and you need an in-person site visit, diagnosis, and custom treatment plan, you can contact me via the email address in my channel description. Or, for more general hedgy questions, I do my best to reply to all your thorny problems in the comments. So, if you value your hedges, don't end up in a bushy bind. No, instead, hedge your bets and learn how to identify these box problems. Wishing you healthy plants and happy gardening.